Hi everyone, my name's James and this is Roll20 201, a tutorial video for Game Empire Saturday Game Day. Thanks for being here. So hopefully you've already seen John's 101 video and learned the basics. We're going to go a little more in depth than that. So when you first come to a table at Roll20 on Game Empire Saturday Game Day, you want to pop over here to the journal and you'll see that there are 6 blank character sheets already set up at the table. And the DM will tell you which one of these character sheets has been assigned to you. So you can click on that one and click Edit. You can see this character has been assigned to me by the DM. So you want to give your character a name, and if you like, you can upload an optional photo or other piece of art to represent your character. Again, that's optional. If you do it, make sure it's a square because Roll20 will warp the dimensions. Click Save Changes and you've got your character. Once your character is set up in the journal, you want to drag them from their name over to the map, and that will create your token on the map that you can move around and your DM can move, or your DM can copy and paste it onto another map. You want to customize your token first by making sure the name is visible. You want to add your HP to the green bar, your current HP and max HP. If you happen to have an aura because you're a paladin or you have some item, you can add your aura there, maybe 10 feet or 30 feet. Save changes, and you've got your customized character token right here. As you take damage during play, you can edit their HP, and you can watch as their health bar diminishes and move them around the game and play right from that token. Next, once you've set up your token and customized it, you want to take a look at your character sheet. Now, as John mentioned, you don't have to use the character sheet from Roll20. This is an optional feature. It takes a little bit of time to set up, but it has some advantages during play if you want to use it. You're also welcome to use your paper and pen character sheet and simply roll the dice from within the chat box. That's a perfectly okay way to play, and you don't need to spend time filling out your character sheet. If you want to use the character sheet, there are a few ways to do it. The Charactermancer is a Roll20 wizard that will take you through some of the options. I'm not going to take you through that, but it's pretty simple. You can also edit the sheet directly. One of the simplest ways to do this is by clicking on this info icon. That's your compendium, and it has all the content available to you to build the character sheet. You may not necessarily find every piece of AL legal content in this compendium, but there's a lot in here, and just try and get as close as you can and keep track of any discrepancies. If there's any difference between what your character is able to do or the values on your character sheet versus what you can build here. But you can always pick the race, and the way you add these content items to your character sheet is simply by dragging and dropping. So Agatha's a human, go to class, drag and drop Agatha's class, she's a warlock. You can add spells. Simply drag and drop spells from your character's spell list right onto the character sheet. Some of them will be added here as actions that your character can take. And then there's the full spell list over here that has every spell that we're adding one by one. So you'll have every spell that your character can cast here. Now, the advantage of filling out this character sheet is that you can actually roll from within the character sheet. So if you come over here to the chat and your character wants to cast Acid Splash, you simply click on it, and the Roll20 will roll the damage and display your spell DC. So you can drag and drop your race and class and other features, and then come in here and manually edit anything you need to change on that. So you can change your ability scores, and that will automatically update your ability score modifiers. You can type in or check off all of your skill proficiencies, and you can see that will automatically change the relevant proficiencies in your passive proficiency as needed. So that's how you fill out the character sheet. I'm not going to take you all the way through it. As I said, you don't need to use the character sheet because you can always go from pen and paper. But if you want to use the feature of clicking on items in order to roll for them, say your DM gives you a wisdom save, you can just click right there. Then you'll need to fill out the character sheet in order to use that feature. Another option is called Beyond 20. That's a browser extension. If you're a D&D Beyond user using Chrome or Firefox as your browser, you can download that browser extension, and that allows you to roll directly from your D&D Beyond character sheet if you've already got characters filled out there. So I'm also going to take you through a couple of macros in case you're rolling from the chat box. If you're choosing to use a pen and paper character sheet, you're going to roll your dice directly from the chat box. John already showed you the basic functions. You can also shorten the /roll to be just /r. And say you need to roll 2 d20s because you're rolling with advantage. A simple macro to keep the highest number on your roll is KH1. And that means keep highest 1. So you roll 2 d20s, roll an 18 and a 19, and it keeps the 19. Similarly, you can roll 2 d20s and keep lowest 1, KL1. Well, that's if you're rolling at disadvantage, you can keep the lowest. It's a very flexible macro. You can roll 3 d20s and keep the highest 1 if you've got Elven Accuracy as one of your feats, or any other feature that allows you to keep a lowest, keep a highest, drop the lowest, drop the highest. Those are all macros that are easy and flexible. You might be a great weapon fighter, and when you hit with your greatsword, you can re-roll 1s and 2s. The macro for that is R for re-roll, O for once, because you only get to re-roll 1 time, and less than 2 for 1s and 2s. So that will give you 1 re-roll on every 1 or 2 that you roll. So you can see there we rolled a 6 and a 2, re-rolled the 2 to get a 6. You can use the up and down keys on your keyboard to see your previous rolls if you need to do one of those again. So I want to try that again. This time add my damage modifier. And you want to make sure that your modifier comes after the macro, so that the macro, this macro, roll once less than 2, applies to the dice rolls immediately before it. And then you add the damage modifier after all that. One last feature to go over in the chat box is the whisper feature. This lets you send a message directly to the GM. So /W for whisper, GM, and then you can send a message that goes just to the DM. You can also use this as a helpful feature if you want to use an X card. Of course, the X card is one of our safety techniques. If you're feeling unsafe or uncomfortable for any reason, you can use the X card. One way to do that is the whisper feature. You can whisper directly to the GM, and that way no one else at the table will know that you invoked the X card. So you don't have to reveal that you're the one invoking the X card. If you want to, you can whisper it to the GM and they'll know to move on with no questions asked, and they won't reveal who invoked the X card. Of course, there are other ways to use the X card. You're welcome to do so verbally or publicly. But if you want to do it privately, /W GM private message. Okay, thanks so much, everyone. Hope to see you at Saturday's game day.